So as you're adding into the chat, I'm going to go ahead and kick off just a little bit of the logistics, but we're going to be talking today about how you can use Microsoft Copilot to create things like documents, presentations, images that you're looking for. It might be a family newsletter that you want to create, perhaps even a Microsoft form or video, or maybe it's an infographic. There's a lot of tools inside Copilot, and I plan to demonstrate some of them today. I'm Eileen Heller, a professional learning consultant with ESU3 out of La Vista, Nebraska. And there's my email address if you ever want to connect with me. And then I'm also going to include this slide deck in the chat. And if anybody's catching it with the recording, that is included in the comments section down in the description area of that on the Nebraska Head Start Association's YouTube channel. So taking a look here at the chat. Oh, I'm happy to see that some of you are looking at AI in ways that it can help you create things. And I'm happy to see that you're here to learn more. A new computer, somebody talking about setting all the new things up on a new computer. Oh, that's a great idea. Somebody else talking about how to create practice scenarios when training family service staff. Can give you some inspiration around that. Today, we will have a few things. Last week was our session 1 where we learned about Copilot Chat. So if you did not get a chance to view that one yet, that is also on the YouTube channel. I will always start off with our outcomes and agenda. And we're really going to be looking at applying AI with best practices again for effective, safe prompts, and then using Copilot chat features to create things for your work. Create things to increase productivity and efficiency. And when we do this, we'll go through the license and overview. We'll do our best practices. And in my demonstration, you're going to see me doing a couple things from the last time in the prompting and chatting, but we're really going to be leaning into creating things for this time. I'll finish up with resources. And in the demonstration, as all of the others, I really do the Zoom as more of a watch demonstration so that you can come back to it and try on your own. If you happen to maybe have multiple screens and you're lucky enough to do that, you can try to follow along with me. But if at any time I get too far ahead and you're just wondering where I'm at, come back to the Zoom, watch me go through it, and then you can always take a look at the video once it's posted, maybe take notes as to what you want to come back to. And I will review a couple things of last time. We are all potentially on different types of licenses. So there's a type of license called a personal account, an enterprise account, and an education account. You're going to see me using an education account. And the benefit of an education account is that it's going to offer some additional privacy under the COPA and FERPA laws. And so that's going to look a little bit different than a personal account and an enterprise account, where that personal account doesn't give you the same safeguards. So if you're working in an account and you're using like an outlook.com or hotmail.com, just know not to put any private information in there. If you're in a business, not an educational organization, if you're in a business, you're probably under the business account. And it does give you some protections, but not the COPA and the FERPA that the education account does. So there's some differences there. I will be demonstrating on the online version of Copilot, but there is a desktop version that you can download. It's going to have a lot of the same different buttons and options. It's just that I do the online one because we might be on different licenses, and so it's going to be more consistent looking to what yours is. If there's ever a tool that I'm using or a little button that you're looking for the same as mine, it might be that yours doesn't have it because it's not the exact same license as mine. And some best practices that I cover every time when you're working in an education system, making sure that that personally identifiable information, no entrance of student names, identification numbers, maybe what their school is attached to their name, date of birth, you would want to keep that private. And then I always model this human AI workflow where we start with the human and giving it the context and purpose. Then we go into the AI, we let it do some of the heavy lifting for us by drafting, analyzing. Today we'll lean into creating, and then we bring it forward with our human touch. Today you're going to notice that the creations that it gives us a start, a prototype, a beginning, but it doesn't give us the final product often. I won't say that I've ever had from AI a presentation developed that I didn't have to go in and change. I've never had a Word document created that I'm like, yep, perfection, let's roll with it. I've always had to change some things. And then I will be modeling and using a framework for prompting that I use with AI, where I always include these things in my prompt: the context, the role, what is the task I want it to do, the audience, the tone, and then I give examples either by attaching them or giving examples of things I'm looking for. And I oftentimes will use the AI chat program in CoPilot for it to construct a good prompt for me using this framework. So that's some of the housekeeping things, some of the things to get through that you'll see each time that I do a webinar. But let's get into our demonstration portion. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I'll stop every once in a while to check them out. And then I, of course, can stay on and take questions at the end if needed. So in case you weren't here on the first one, I'm going to start off by showing you how to get to Microsoft Copilot. And then we're going to lean into the creation tools that you can use within. You can use the creation tools to create a lot of, and I say draft starter prototypes, because it's not going to be perfect when it comes out of there. And we're really going to lean into things like creating images, editing images, looking at how you can construct an infographic to take some of your communication and make it easier, whether it's for your staff, for yourself, or even for families. How you could create a document that's going to open up in Microsoft Word to allow you to continue editing, and how you can create a presentation prototype that will open up in PowerPoint so that you can continue refining it. When you watch me do the prompting, I have a prompt samples document that should allow you to click on it. And that's something you can do later unless you're trying to follow along with me. But what you'll see me doing is I will be taking the prompts and copy pasting them into the chat area so that you don't have to watch me type all of this. So last week we did the CoPilot chat, and here are the prompts that I used for that. And now we're going to go down here to the CoPilot create. And here's some of the things that we're going to be covering today. Inside the first step is finding Microsoft Copilot. I did include the link here for later, or if you opened up the slide deck. You can also type in m365.cloud.microsoft/chat, but that's a lot to remember. You could do a quick Google search for Microsoft Copilot, but I always like to demonstrate that if you're used to using your Outlook Mail or your OneDrive online, it has this nice little tool. Let me turn on my pink little circle here so you can see where I'm at. It has this nice little apps launcher in the top left side, and that Microsoft Copilot is going to be inside your apps launcher. So that's how I typically go to it when I'm ready to use it. And when I open it up, it's going to have some different tools here that I can use. It's going to have some things that it recommends for me. And then it has this little Microsoft Copilot. It's not really quite showing me the Copilot interface I'm used to. So I'm going to click this button up here in this corner and see if it takes me there. It's really not showing me my normal look. It's almost like showing me my search look here. I have it open in a separate tab, so I'm going to go into that. There it is. New chat. That's what I'm looking for. I just was too far scrolled up. So in my new chat, this is what we worked with last time. And you can see different chats that I've utilized in the past. And today we're going to go into this create area, and I'm going to demonstrate a couple things inside the create, but then I'm also going to show you how to use the chat to create things. And I'll talk to you about when I choose to use this create versus going into the chat to actually create. So let's start off inside the create window. And this is where they're going to give you a wide variety of things that you could create in CoPilot. So you can create an image, a video, an infographic, a story. You can browse brand templates. And then this more button is really helpful because it gives you all of the different things inside here that you could potentially create. Now, there is a brand kit option right here, but in my license, when I click brand kit, it says brand kits are not available with your license. Please contact your administrator for a license upgrade. I'm not going to be doing that, but if yours does let you create a brand kit, what that lets you do is if your organization uses specific colors and fonts that you need to apply to all of your things and you have access to that, you can click in there and you can tell it what are the colors and the fonts that I want all of my templates to utilize. Down below are brand templates, and it's going to show you, sorry, I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to go into create an image, and I'm going to model for you some of the ways that you could create images. Now, they will give you some potential images that you could go in and you could create a prompt, and it's going to give you a similar style, but it would be taking your prompt and revising it to match the style that they used, like on this product launch, but then it's going to revise it to what you tell it you want it to say. So maybe you're going to revise it and say like, welcome back to school, and you're going to ask for like a backpack, not a headset. What I'm going to model instead of using one of theirs is I know what I want in my image. I have a presentation or a newsletter or something that I want to send out to my families. And on that, I want to create an image of 3 to 4-year-old children entering a classroom with smiles on their faces and backpacks. And I'm going to copy that. You would be typing it if you were going to be doing this. I'm going to paste it in there. There's a couple things I could say. I could say, okay, what is the style I want? What's the color I want? Do I want it to be a square image, or do I want it to choose that on its own? I could add content if I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like. But what I'm going to choose is I'm just going to go ahead and click create, and I'm going to let it start doing its work and see what it comes up with. Now, as it's doing this, when you're creating images with AI, you want to watch to see when you ask for it to create any representation of human beings. I'm always looking for how diverse do they make the humans look? Is there some unnatural bias within it? For example, if I'm asking for a picture of a doctors talking about a patient, are they only giving me male doctors? Is there some bias in that? If I put in, I want a group of teachers collaborating with one another around a table, are they only giving me female teachers? Are they only representing one type of ethnicity? So I try to pay attention to the AI tools that I use and how well are they showing a wide representation as it's coming forward. The original image that it's pulling forward, I'm looking, they look 3 to 4 years old. They've got their backpacks. I see a classroom in the background. I see smiles on their faces. And I see that it's a diverse group of students. And I could continue to refine this. I like this one. But what it does is it creates this in an editing background area. So what I could do in here is I could further describe what I want on this, like describe the changes you would like to make to the image. There's nothing I'd really like to change in there, but there's all these other tools. I could go in here and choose a different style, make it maybe more whimsical or a flat design. So there's a lot of different things that you can choose in here to play around with. So what I'm also noticing is that I can transform it. I can edit this with a background and all of these tools. I can put on different filters. I can go into the suggest and I can say, show me some suggestions of how I might be able to enhance this. And it's going to generate some different style designs using my same prompt. Ooh, that says try again later. Okay. I could add in some text. I could add in my own media. I could add in some visuals. I could write on top of it. So there's a lot of different tools that I could go in and do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select some text as my next step. And I'm going to choose this little text box right here. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to put because we're getting ready to announce our welcome back, I'm going to put Brook Valley head start. That's what I'm going to have it say. And I can revise this a little bit. I think I'll make it a little bit smaller. So I have to highlight all my text, but there's a lot of editing tools built right inside this. It's going to allow you to create a really nice visual if you're going to use it for your newsletter or if you're planning to use it for whatever it is that you want. So I'm going to put that down here. And then there's things that I can change also. I can go back and I can click on the background. And I can click and I can change that background. And I kind of like the green in this little boy's shirt. I think that would make a nice little background color. So after I've clicked on the background over there and it opened up, there's this little pick a color from the design. And when I touch it, it lets me come over and I can click on that little boy's shirt and now it matches that color there. I don't really like that my head starts living on 2 lines. Kind of makes my background look a little bit weird. So I would continue to adjust that to whatever level I want. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with an image once you get it created with all of the tools that they have available to you. So many tools that you can continue to refine. Just remember, it may not get your image right the first time. So you can go in there and you can continue to refine it and say something like, I only want 3 children. I want 1 boy and I want 1 girl, or whatever it is that you're trying to describe. And then when you're ready, you can click download and you can download or you can copy that image so that you can use that within your materials. So questions, please. I see one question. Do you have a limited number of photo edits? Ooh, great question that I don't have an answer to. Have you ran into anything, Megan, that's been a problem? I just haven't ran into that yet myself, but I can't tell you. I'm more of a Google user. So I don't know if there is a limit on my E3 license. Sometimes other licenses might have a limit to it. I can't model how to upload your brand colors because we don't have access on my license for the branding kit, but I can show you where it is. So where you'll find that is inside your create. And then it's remembering what my last prompt is. So I'm going to take that out of there, but it's hiding in the more button. And it's down in the brand templates. And then you will click new brand kit. And that's where I get stopped and it says, sorry, brand kits are not available with your license. But if you have brand colors and you have access to do that, then you can do it that way. I will be modeling for you later when I make a PowerPoint. I'm going to attach our ESU3 style guide to that. So when you're doing it like on create an image, you could attempt to add content and upload or pull from your OneDrive. You could pull if you have like our brand kit lives in a PDF and it has the hex codes, the fonts, and I could add that and say using the attached colors as a guide, create an image, and then I could continue my prompt. Okay, great questions so far. Keep those coming through. I'm going to move to the next part of the demonstration, and then we'll go into checking out if there's more questions. I do want to show you one more thing with the image, and then we're going to go into building an infographic. So the other thing that I do like is if you have an image that you want to bring up in, and it's not something that's been created in CoPilot, but you want to edit an image, there are some tools that you can really use and have a lot of good choices around. So erasing an object out of it, adding in stickers, taking out an object in the background, blurring the background maybe, removing the background. There's just all these different things that you can do inside here. So I'm going to go ahead and add an image just real quick to show you an example. I have later, I'm going to be, I'm going to go ahead and change this image. Oh shoot, I said the wrong thing. I want to edit the image I just uploaded. And this one was actually created by CoPilot for me. It was one of my infographics I'm about to model. And they made this really nice lunch box, but they didn't put the word lunch on it. So I can take something that maybe they've created for me and I have my editing rights just by uploading. Or maybe you have a picture of your actual school and you want to put a label on it. You can go ahead and add those things on there, but I can go doctor up this image and I'm going to add a sticker on it. And I want a sticker that has something to do with lunch on it. And you can have it actually create little stickers that go on top of your images. So it could be the image that you just created using a prompt, or you could have your own images that you want to add in stickers and text, or you want to mark up on it, or maybe you need to put an emoji on a student's face or blur out the student's face for something that you're using it for. Those are some things that you can do within this. While it's building up my sticker, I will say I like CoPilot Create for some quick, fast things. If you're looking for really intricate presentation creation or editing, I feel it has everything I need. Some of my colleagues prefer Canva because they know Canva really well. And Canva is free for all educators, the pro version even. So if you find that you're not quite getting what you want out of CoPilot, it could be that your licensing is slightly different, or it could be that you might need a very fine-tuned visual or something that you're doing. I'm going to click on this little lunch sticker that they made, and I'm going to apply that sticker to mine, and then it's like a picture on top of a picture. So I can resize it, I can drag it, I can move it over here into whatever area I want, and then I can download and I can use that for anything I'm going to create. So let me show you how I made this. This happens to be an infographic, and that's what I was going to model next. When you're in Create, it's going to keep you in what you're working on. Even if you come and expand and go back to Create here, it's going to open up in kind of this same editing image area. So you can always go back into that by clicking Create and choosing what you want to create next. I'm going to do another thing in here, and this time I'm going to show you an infographic. I'm not going to have time to show you everything that's inside here, but they all work in a similar way. When you select them, they're going to give you some pre-made infographics that you could use as inspiration. Like you'll see this checklist here. Looks very similar to my checklist of what they need to bring for the first day of school. And these are meant for you to have some inspiration. Very similar to Canva, if you're familiar with that, or Adobe Creative Cloud Express. Or you could go ahead and do your whole entire infographic right here. But in this one, I'm going to model using one of their pre-made ones. So I kind of like this one that they were looking at. I like those little checklists. I like the real colorful look. I'm going to start with this prompt. And they give me the prompt that they used at the beginning. Visualize an infographic titled with this above 6 topics using vibrant colors and crisp, bold back font. Include open checkboxes, icons, and equally sized cards. Now, I want to keep a lot of that. But what I'm going to change are some of the things that are up above that I want it to change for my infographic. So instead of having it exactly like that, I'm going to bring in what I changed it to. Now I kept the original and I changed some things. So before I delete this original piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in right below it so that you can see what I changed it to. I changed it to visualize an infographic titled Start of the School Year Checklist. I kept their above 6 topics with vibrant colors. I kept all of that, but then I added on and I said include 6 items an early childhood student would need to bring, including the items that they need to bring. So in this one, I'm going to delete out what their original one was up above, right up here. And I'm going to have it create that. Remember, you can change out the color. I do like the vibrant colors. I could make it more wide. That one's really kind of more of a landscape style, kind of a squarish looking one. But look what it did. As it's creating it, it put me back in this editing area that I had the last time. So once it's done creating it, I have all of those same tools. I can change what I don't like about what they created. I could change the color palette and the size. I could go in and edit some of the things that it has on there, look at suggestions, add text, upload my own media to it. I could add my visuals, but look what's coming in already for me. And it would have taken me quite a bit of time inside another program to construct the background, the beautiful colors, the icons. So if it's something that you're just quickly wanting created, you can make that work for you. I will say that when you're using generative AI, it's always going to just continue to recreate, and you won't get always the exact same that you did prior. So even though I use that exact same prompt to get that previous picture, it's bringing in a similar look, but it's not using the same colors. I'm noticing that the colors of like the blankets and the lunch look slightly different, but I really do like the way it created it. And then I have those same capabilities. So if I wanted to maybe put in a heading in there or a subheading or something that I wanted to add, I could add the word optional under the lunch. Or I could go in and I could add in a text box that says something like, write the student's name on all of these materials or something like that. And then I could download it. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go back into that create, and I'm going to give you a heads up on something. Inside the more, you're going to see things like document, presentation, form. I was super excited when I saw these here, but I'm going to tell you I wasn't as super excited when I started playing with them. It really just gives you similar styles of what it would do if you open up Microsoft Word and you asked for some templates. It really didn't do anything that made it a big lift for me. So I wanted to make a newsletter to send to my families. And so when I just took something like this and clicked on it, it opened it up in my online version of Docs. And I really can't do much with it. I can go in and edit, but I really wanted it to kind of give me inspiration. Now, I will say that there's this little tiny CoPilot button built into mine that I could ask for what I wanted this to include over here. But that's really just using the same tools that I have in the CoPilot chat. And what I would prefer to see is what would your AI system do for a newsletter? How could it construct a newsletter? So I found myself not using the create tool when I wanted to create things like my PowerPoints and my documents. I use it a lot more if I go in and want to create images, edit images, infographics, things that I couldn't do just basic in Word and PowerPoint as easily. So what I'm going to demonstrate next is when I do my document and my PowerPoint, I'm going to be using the basic chat feature instead of the create feature for that. So inside this, I'm going to do a new chat. And what I want to model first on our slide deck here is I'm going to show you how to do a document. And then I'm going to show you how to do a presentation. And I'm going to use the chat feature to do those instead of going into the create, because I just don't feel like it's robust enough. It doesn't give me what I want. And the document that I'm going to be using is a monthly newsletter. And I came up with that idea by asking CoPilot this prompt. I said, I want to use the create tools in CoPilot. I know you can create documents, presentations, infographics, images, etc. Provide 3 to 5 prompts using the create prompting format, which includes context, role, explicit task, audience, tone, constraints, and examples that I might use as a Head Start coordinator that will allow me to utilize the creation methods. And it said, absolutely, here's 5 formatted prompts that a Head Start coordinator might use. So that same prompt is in our prompt sample document, and you could change it out to your role. But let's look at some of the things it says I could possibly use this for. I could make a family engagement newsletter. That's the one I'm going to be using here in a moment. I could use my staff training presentation and create a PowerPoint. I'll be modeling something similar to that. A recruitment infographic, a school readiness goals report, a classroom environment checklist. And then I could say, okay, give me more ideas than just this. So don't forget, I modeled in session one of the Microsoft one is that you can use the CoPilot chat to create really nice prompts for you. So if you tell it, this is what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a start of the year checklist for my teachers, create a document with the basic things early or Head Start classroom teachers would want to bring. It'll get you started and then you can keep prompting it. So I'm going to be modeling a monthly newsletter one. And in our prompts, I took the prompt that it had given me and I have it there so that if you ever want to copy it and try it yourself, either later or if you're trying to follow along, you could copy that prompt, start a new chat, paste it in. Now, if you happen to have a previous newsletter that you've used, you could attach it and you could reference, use the attached sample newsletter as a guide. Or if you had one that you have all the information in or a document that you typed, maybe throughout the previous month, you're typing in, oh, these are the updates I want to remember to share. These are the coming dates that I want to share. You could have that as a reference and you could say, use the content in my attached document to fill this out. So what it's doing is it's going to create the basic newsletter for me. And then you're going to watch me re-prompt it. Notice it's going to be using warm, welcoming, strengths-based, plain language, culturally responsive, and at a reading level of about 6th grade, because I'm not sure about my parents' reading level. So I want it to be plain language, not too jargony. I'm going to send that through. Also for the question on uploading brand colors, that would be another time that you could add the brand colors as an attachment if your license, like mine, doesn't allow you to create a brand kit. Another plus for Canva, Canva's education license will allow you to add your brand kit. So let's scroll down and see what it's doing so far. It says your family-friendly Head Start newsletter is ready. I can download it right here. And then it says, if you'd like, I can also add icons. I can insert bilingual text. I can reformat it to a one page. I could also click down here if I know I want those things. I might want to revise it, but I'm going to click the Head Start monthly family newsletter. It's going to tell me where it's going to put it. I can always move it to where I want to remember it. And it's going to show me its first prototype or iteration. And this is one thing that's different than Gemini that I will point out, because those of you that were in my Google Gemini, it will let you revise it right within and it regenerates a new one right there for you. In CoPilot, it doesn't do that for me, or not at least on my license. It always downloads it, lets me look at it, and then I can go in and I can revise it. So this is not a bad start. I don't really love it. Doesn't have any icons. I would want it to be a little bit more visually pleasing. I think some emojis would be helpful. I like that it has our program updates, our family engagement opportunities, our reminders, our family resources. But I'm going to minimize that for right now. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to revise it just a little bit. It's at one page, so that's not bad. But I'm going to revise it. I'm going to say, include a reminder for spring break, all facilities or all, let me see if it changes that, will be closed March 16th through the 20th. Revise it to have emojis for icons and include the importance of reading books to their children with a little bit of research of the why. I don't know if that's something that you would want, but I'm just going to see what it can do for me. So just as a reminder, I don't have Head Start background. I'm not sure if those would be the things you would be wanting on your newsletters, but what I want to demonstrate is it will take its original version. It will take what you want it to revise on it, and it's going to give you this new one. And then it tells me what it added in this new one. And then it also gives me more examples of things that it can do. So I'm going to go ahead and download the new one. Again, I have to download it. I have to open it. And then I'll compare it to what it had before. Okay, I'm seeing some emojis inside there. I see that, it says we have a family night. They got the wrong date. We don't even have a family night in this month. I'm going to change that to our pancake man that we have coming. I do like that they had that family tip of reading together. They put in some helpful links. I don't really like the way they did those links. I'm going to go in and put the real links inside there. And then I'm looking to see, oh, there it is, the reminder, spring break reminder, all facilities will be closed. So it's given me the layout, and the more that you can tell it what you want in the newsletter, the more it's going to get correct. That's where it comes in handy if you happen to keep notes throughout of what you would like it to do. Now, let's say that I have it perfect. I could even attach my most perfect, most edited one. I could say, create a bilingual Spanish version of it, send it in, and it's going to create a bilingual Spanish version of it. I do not have proficiency in Spanish. I would need to double check. Is CoPilot providing a nice enough version for us to use? Sometimes when it does it, just a heads up, it will sometimes do it with just this little tiny one. And then I can click on that little tiny one, and there's my new updated one inside there. Now, I do know Microsoft is one of the most robust foreign language platforms out there. So I can't tell you how many languages it can do, but I know that it's one of the most robust, has the most different types of languages. Okay, I see what it did. So it kept the English version and then put Spanish right below it. So I would go back and I would say, give me a completely separate Spanish version so that I could maybe do a front back before I send it out. What it did is it did each label, then in Spanish, English, Spanish, and so on. So depending on what you would like. So that's your document example. And next we're going to go into looking at how you could create a presentation and have it create your PowerPoint for you. So the last time that I did our session, I had done a deep thinking research around getting the best research for challenging behaviors in early childhood. And when I went into the Think Deeper format, it had aired out before everybody had come in or we were able to continue. So I did come back in. I didn't want to make you on the last session sit and watch all of this research that it came back with. But it came back with some really robust research on this. And I'm going to use some of this as my inspiration for what we're going to create a slide deck about. So in this step 5, it created an executive brief for me, 2 to 3 pages long, of some strong evidence for reducing challenging behaviors and improving social emotional learning while decreasing exclusionary discipline. And it has these top findings within it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these top findings and I'm going to use it to help me create a slide deck. Now, I could do this inside the same chat as what this is in so that it recognizes that, oh, these are the top findings. I could also copy paste this and put this in a whole new chat. But what I'm going to pull over is inside our sample prompts. I have this prompt here that I'm going to copy. And I'm going to paste that in the same one where it says, use this research and construct a PowerPoint slide deck that I can utilize to share the top findings. Include teacher-friendly language and specific actions they can consider taking. I want a clear white background with dark navy text. Ensure the title's 24 point or higher and the text is 18 point or higher. I like the Lexan font because I have from previous presenters learned that that's the most dyslexic friendly font. And then on this one, I'm going to attach our style guide and see if it can reference the attached style guide. So reference the attached style guide for color inspiration. I'll send that over and let it start doing its work. Now, I had previously built one. It's kind of doing its work down here. It's searching, it's reviewing data. I had done that previously so that I could show you what it's going to look like as it's kind of cooking in the oven. But what it will do is it will give you this preview inside CoPilot where you can look at what it's come up with. So this was the original one when I had asked it to do the same thing, but I had not attached the style guide. And it's giving me kind of a beige-ish background, even though my original one had asked for a white background. I do like that it's giving me some sample pictures that are going along with it. I don't feel like the font size is really going to work for me, but it is talking about why early behavior support matters. And then as I go inside here, it's going to start to pull in some of the findings from that research that I thought would be important. Now, my example is pulling from some research I had CoPilot do. You could attach some things that you want it to reference, like maybe it's your Head Start performance standards, or maybe you want to get a slide deck prepared for your annual report that you create. You can attach it and say, construct a slide deck based on the attached document. Let's take a look at, and it's kind of explaining to me, slide 1 is the title, slide 2, why it matters, slide 3, the pyramid model, quick wins, quick starts. And then it talks a little bit about what it did. Let's go down and see if it's made the next one yet. Oh, interesting. Look at this. I never know what I'm going to get with AI. It doesn't look like it gave me the preview inside. It has me download the document. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to open that up in PowerPoint. Ooh, what I do like is it's pulling in my brand colors. What it didn't do this time is it didn't give me any images. So I'm going to go back and ask for it to do some of the images. But it's giving me that starter prototype on some of the targeted ideas around behaviors that I could use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, the content looks great. Can you add a visual image on each slide that connects to the content? I don't know if it will be able to. It did on that first one that it did for me when I practiced it. So while it's thinking through that, I'm going to go in and start closing up today's slide deck. And then I'm going to jump back over there to see what it created. As a reminder, some resources in the slide deck for you. The Nebraska Head Start Association members playlist for YouTube is linked in there. I included a tutorial on the Create tools that might even include some that I was not able to demonstrate today. And then there's this nice website about getting started with the Create on the Microsoft website. And then in the chat, if you can reflect on today's learning and share one of the creation ideas that you might consider building for your role. So that's going to help others that are on the call. So don't just say, oh, I'm going to make an infographic. If you have an idea of what you're going to put in the infographic, include that. That might help somebody else with an idea. Or if you're thinking, oh, I have a presentation coming up, I think I'm going to attach this and ask for this, feel free to add that inside there. And then as a reminder, our last session for the series is coming up March 5th. That's next Thursday at 12:15 until 1 o'clock. I hope you can join us. We're going to be learning about creating an agent. An agent is going to do some of the things that you consistently ask for over and over and over again. And it will create an agent with the instructions so you don't have to keep typing them. Like I like to get it to do prompts using the Create framework. I'm going to build an agent so that I don't have to always type that in. And then there's my information, but I'm going to pop back over and see if it updated. Oh, it has some icons. I wonder if it's going to have some pictures in there. And look at that. It's giving me maybe some visuals. Oh, interesting. Never know what I'm going to get with this. Let's open that up. For those of you that need to take off because it's 1 o'clock, thank you so much for joining. I did want to get this open. Oh, I don't like it as much. It didn't really create some nice images like it did the last time. What I would probably do is try to go either reprompt it again or start getting some images from CoPilot that I could pull in. Thank you so much for joining. For those of you that are taking off, and feel free, I'm going to read the chat about the ideas that you're coming up with. Have a great day.
So can